We're back!
Yes, sir. You guys were blowing me up on Instagram saying, Matt, you got to talk about the Arch Manning news. Now, for those of you that don't know, I would say Arch Manning pretty much just shocked the entire world. Out of nowhere, in the middle of June, to be more specific, on June 23rd, he has officially made his college decision. What caught me so off guard about all of this is he stated only a month or two ago he was going to wait until next fall. We all know he narrowed his options down to 3 schools: Alabama, Georgia, and Texas. And like I just stated, and his own high school coach even said it, he was going to wait it out and think long and hard about it. And well, I don't want to say he didn't think long and hard about it, because I'm sure he did. But his decision, I think it's safe to say, it came faster than what everybody thought it would. When you think about it, there's no need to rush a decision because he's still got to play 1 more year of high school football. So he probably could have waited at least 3, 4, 5, or 6 more months. We have a lot, and I mean a lot of stuff to talk about and go over in this video. Real quick, before we get into it, we're on the road to 200K, and there's a bunch of you watching and you're just simply not subscribed. I try to do this every 1 to 2 weeks. Let's see how many new subscribers we can gain from this video, and I'll tell you in the next one. It really motivates me whenever we gain new subscribers. It means a lot, and it also motivates me when you guys tag me in news like this on Twitter or Instagram. I really appreciate whenever you guys send me stuff like this on Instagram. It's awesome. Can't thank you enough. And now, without further ado, let's get into it. Good old Arch Manning. First things first, let's talk about this. So, for those of you that don't know, Arch Manning, he's not a social media person. He does have an Instagram, and it is private, so you can't even follow him, and he didn't even have a Twitter up until this morning. I hope this goes to show you how many fans he has, and just how popular he is, because he just made his Twitter literally this morning, and he already has over 33,000 followers. Unbelievable. And if you're wondering why he made this Twitter, it's so he could announce his commitment. It appears to seem that was the only reason, because he posted on Twitter, committed to the University of Texas. And currently, as to when I'm speaking and making this video, he's trending in the United States. I'm gonna let you know right now, get you a snack, get you some popcorn, because we do have a lot to talk about and I have a lot to say. We already know, just having Manning attached to your first name, it's gonna make everything more interesting, and people are gonna talk about you. It didn't matter where Arch was going to commit, people were gonna talk about it, and it was gonna be trending. But I think what enhances it even more is he committed to Texas. Take this how you want, and I think Texas fans would agree with me. Texas hasn't been so good the past 5, 10, 15 years. Wow, now that I think about it, it has nearly been, what, 10 years since Texas has been a powerhouse? I would say around the time frame, and I'm going to show you right here, from 2000 all the way up into 2009, Texas was arguably one of, if not the best college football programs in the country. Looking at it right here, and I'm going to show you on your screen, there wasn't a single year where they won under 10 games. That's incredible for a 19-year stretch. However, ever since 2009, ever since Colt McCoy left, from 2010 all the way up into 2022, they've only had 1 year where they've won 10 or more games. And in that year, 2018, where they did win 10 games, they played 14 games. And most recently, in the past 2 to 3 years, especially last year, Texas has been an absolute laughingstock. Maybe you think that's a little harsh. I don't, because as a college football fan, I laugh and joke about Kansas all the time, and guess what? They beat Texas last year. So if theoretically speaking, Kansas is a laughingstock, what does that make Texas? Hey, you tell me. Make it make sense. I want to make this extremely clear. It's not so much about them going 5-7, it's everything that's been going on with the program. How do you go 5-7 and you have what I think is the #1 running back in the country? How do you lose games when you're up by double digits, not once, not twice, but 3 or 4 times? How does Texas as a state have some of the best high school football recruits in the country, yet on defense, you can't tackle a single soul? I could keep going, but I'm going to stop right there. I think you get my point. That's why I think Texas has been a laughingstock. It's the same thing with USC and Florida. There's no reason, if you are a school in the state of California, Texas, or Florida, for your football team to play the way that Florida, USC, and Texas have played in some of the recent years. There's too much talent and too much money in those states for these schools to go 5-7. Whoa, hold on. It looks like the tables are starting to turn though. USC, they're seemingly on the rise. I don't get to speak on that. We know what's going on. In Texas, they look like they could be on the rise as well. Why do I think Texas is on the rise? It's rather simple. They got not one, but two of the top-rated quarterback recruits in the history of high school football. They also got the new head coach, Steve Sarkisian, #1 running back, like I stated, and they really shouldn't be all too terrible next year. I don't think they're going to go 14-0, but I would expect them to win 9 or 10 games. Anyways, getting back on topic with Mr. Arch Manning, here's a little fun fact for you. Ever since 24/7 Sports started making rankings, Texas has got all of the perfect recruits. Vince Young, Quinn Ewers, and Arch Manning all had a perfect composite score of 1,000 or 1.000, whatever you want to call it. Hey, that's not too bad, and 2 of those guys haven't even played a snap there yet. Ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing though, and we're already going to have many more videos and conversations about this. You now have Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning on the same team. Regardless of what happens next year for Quinn Ewers, unless I'm misunderstanding this, he has to come back. So whenever Arch Manning he graduates high school and goes to Texas, he'll be a freshman and Quinn Ewers will be a sophomore. Like this person stated, Arch isn't getting redshirted. He's going to play as a freshman. Under that, somebody replied, I don't know about that one. Quinn Ewers is still just a redshirt freshman. Arch will sit his first year before taking the reins in year 2. I think Quinn Ewers and Arch Manning alone are fascinating because you don't know what to make out of him quite just yet. We've heard Ewers is supposed to be extremely special, but we haven't seen him play a single snap at the college level. Same thing for Arch Manning. Look, I get it 100%. Arch Manning and Quinn Ewers in high school, they were beyond phenomenal, but they're playing against DoorDash drivers. Screw being a 5-star recruit. If you're the perfect overall recruit, and there's only been 3 of those in the history of high school football, yeah, I would expect you to do pretty good against guys who probably ain't going to play in the NFL. I never want to discredit an athlete's success. It's awesome what they did at the high school level, but it's nowhere close to playing Alabama, Ohio State, or USC. Okay, I don't know why I brought USC in there. I think I meant to say Georgia, but stick with me. I think it's safe to say it's going to be interesting next year at Texas to see what happens with Ewers and Manning. Let's say, for the sake of this video, Quinn Ewers, he has a good year. Not great, but a good year. And then you have Arch Manning coming in as a freshman. Well, you know Arch, he's not going to expect to sit the bench. He wants to compete for that job. My biggest question for Steve Sarkisian, which is the head coach of Texas, will he have big enough balls to even open up the quarterback position? Will he look at Quinn Ewers in the eyes and say, hey, I know you had a good year and you expect to start, but Arch Manning, he's really good too, so we got to open up the race. That's going to be something to pay attention to. Now, if you had to ask me, I think it's only fair to open up the race because apparently Arch Manning, like I said, he's supposed to be the perfect prospect. But I don't want to be hypocritical because Quinn Ewers is also supposed to be the quote-unquote perfect prospect. Oh man, that's going to be something to pay close attention to. Keep your eyes on that. You know when you make an announcement like this, and especially going to Texas, people are going to criticize and hate on you. For example, this person stated, and it got over 2,000 likes, my condolences. 4+ losses a year coming up guaranteed. The sad part about that comment is I can't say it's crazy because Texas has lost about 4 games every single year. The difference with this year and coming up is they look like they're going to have better quarterback play. But let's take a look at this comment though, and it's something I brought up every single time talking about him. I honestly don't get it. His family doesn't need the NIL money, and Texas' recent history is wasting 4- and 5-star talent, putting few, if any, players in the draft. Heck, Sarkisian didn't honestly prepare quarterbacks for the NFL well at USC or Bama when you consider Tua is struggling. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that last part because Alabama is really quarterback university for the past 4 or 5 years. And I don't know what he means by Tua is struggling because this is the first year in the NFL Tua is actually going to be healthy. And I've said this before, I'm going to state it again. The Tua slander in the NFL is ridiculous. We're not here to talk about Tua though, we're here to talk about Arch. What do I think about Arch choosing Texas over Alabama and Georgia? Here's my honest opinion. This may be controversial, but I like the move, and I actually like it a lot. I almost love it. The only move that I wouldn't have been too fond of out of the 3 schools is Georgia. Fairly simple, not going to talk on it too much. Look what Georgia has done with their previous 5-star quarterbacks, Justin Fields and JT Daniels. They really screwed them over. Kirby Smart in Georgia has literally proved just because you're the best quarterback doesn't mean you're going to play. That's not to say if he would have chose to go to Georgia, he wouldn't have been an all-time great, but I like the Texas and Alabama move slightly more. I don't think I have to elaborate on why Alabama's a great fit. Look what they've done with quarterbacks. Heck, look what they did last year. Bryce Young won the Heisman. If you're a quarterback at Alabama, you're going to thrive, no questions asked. Call me crazy, but I really think you could plug me in at quarterback for Alabama, and I'm leading us to 9 or 10 wins guaranteed. Am I a good quarterback? No, I'm not even average, but that just goes to show you how much talent is around Alabama. People that don't watch the games and watch the film, you wouldn't understand tremendous, but those wide receivers for Mac Jones and Tua, they were running 10 to 15 yards wide open. No offense to Tua and Mac Jones, but that's why they looked so phenomenal when they was at Alabama. Yeah, they were good at making the throws, but the wide receivers were just so phenomenal as well. It's not taking anything away from Alabama quarterbacks, but you could almost punt it to Devontae Smith. That's how much room he had. And to go on top of that, Alabama's been really good at developing quarterbacks. Look what they've done recently. They're going to have Bryce Young start in the NFL, Jalen Hurts starts in the NFL, Mac Jones, and so does Tua. The Alabama one, like I said, speaks for itself, but here's why I love the Texas one. And it only applies to Arch Manning because I feel like for him, he's always living in the shadows of Peyton and Eli Manning and his dad. If he goes to Alabama or Georgia and wins a championship and wins the Heisman, yeah, they're going to love him and praise him, but he wouldn't be a legend there because at Alabama, they're used to winning championships. Alabama and Georgia, they're used to being good, whereas for Texas, they've been bad for so long. If Arch goes into Texas, wins a Heisman, leads them to a championship, he would probably get a statue built of him, and he would be a full-out legend there. Alabama would love to have him, but they wouldn't worship the grounds he walks on, whereas Texas will. Taking a look at this tweet, somebody said, Texas just got Arch Manning, meaning the Texas and Kansas rivalry should be much more competitive in the years to come. Oh man, I still can't believe they lost to Kansas. I haven't seen too many people saying and bringing up the argument that Texas only got him because of the NIL money. I'm glad I haven't seen that because at least people know that Arch Manning, he doesn't need money at all. Money was probably the least determining factor in as to why he chose Texas. There's plenty more things I could say, but we're still letting it soak in and watching things develop with him committing to Texas. I am very curious. Let me know your thoughts on this down below. But with all being said, I'm out. Peace.